You down. We're the only team old Carlton knows. With all the champions they like to send up, we'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark blues.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. That's the Mighty Blues song. So it's a good evening from Joe here in Bangkok and
Vince Locissano here in Melbourne, Australia. Welcome to everyone to our program, which very soon is going to be coming to you. Oh, you don't want me to say
Vince,
this yet, Joe?
Not yet, Vince. We haven't had the announcement. Just before we start, I need to apologise to people. You can probably hear I'm a bit croaky. During the week, I contracted that pandemic disease, and I'm still trying to get rid of it, which is COVID. So it's really affected my voice. It's giving me the absolute SH1TS, Vince. So now, Vince, before you rudely interrupted, I hear something in the.
I wasn't going to say what it was. I was just going to say that we're going to be going by a slightly different name.
But here we go.
I love it, Joe. I don't know where you pluck. Where did you pluck that one out of?
YouTube. So, as Vince nearly alluded to before, we have some breaking news. Vince, because my voice is a bit croaky, I'll let you do it. Go.
I'll do it in my best newsreader's voice, Joe. How's that?
Thank you. Well, yeah, I can
in
play
breaking news today, in the Blue Corner, every Sunday evening at 8 o'clock will now be known as Blue Sunday and will be broadcast on the Jumper Punch channel on YouTube. How was that? Was that all right?
It's very good.
So that's the big news, everyone. We are now going to be part of the Jumper Punch channel, and it's a big compliment to have been asked to do that by Rocco and Paul and Mars and everyone involved with the Jumper Punch. Of course, that ever so popular show that comes to you every Tuesday evening during the season at 8 o'clock. So we're really looking forward to that, and there'll probably be a few changes in relation to the names of different things, but Joe, essentially, it's still going to be you and me most of the time, and it'll be Sundays, and it'll still be at around 8 o'clock.
It will. And here's one person who we may ask to come on every now and then, DJ Rash. So DJ Rash.
Nice to see you, Rash.
Yeah, and also we'll have to get Chris the Librarian Beachy.
Yes.
You know, it's he is the heartthrob of our channel. Girls, single and available.
Well, so, he's the sex symbol of that channel.
Well, thank God it's not you and me, Vince, because you know we would be up that.
Our days are gone.
At
least Vince's still only 30.
Those days never happened for me. So so that's pretty exciting news. We've been talking to the guys at the Jumper Punch. We're really looking forward to it. I also
believe you're going to be doing a little regular spot on their show, Joe, from this year on.
Yes, they've asked me to do a Joe's tour of Thailand. So it's predominantly good. Bangkok. And here he is himself. Hey, guys.
There he is, Rocco.
Big year coming up. Yeah. So the boys have asked me to do something on Thailand. I'm doing a first one today for them. I've told Vince where it is. I'm not going to tell the viewers. You'll have to watch the Jumper Punch. And
on Tuesday night.
On Tuesday nights. And you'll have to see where I take you. There, as Rocco has told me, Bangkok or Thailand is my canvas. So as long as it's not triple X rated, I'm allowed to go double X, not triple X. So we'll
Very
have
good.
some exciting venues.
Have you got a name like people can refer to, whether it be a website or a business name or something like that, or do we all have to wait for that on Tuesday night?
No, well, wait for it on Tuesday night because I'm still in preliminary discussions with Rocco as to what we call it. But I'm glad you mentioned that, Vince, because as people may not know, I have a new company, and I'm putting it up, retiredworkingforyoutours.com. So there's the website. There's the website, Retired Working for You Tours. People get on and have a look. We do
RW4UTours.com.
It's RW is Retired Working for You. As you know, I'm retired, and we're working in conjunction with a big YouTuber. So it's an exciting venture. It's a premium rated tour. Peter, I don't go to Bali anymore, so I couldn't tell you if there's.
Good evening, Peter Blahos. Good to see you with us again tonight.
I gave up going to Bali when I went to Bali one time, and I knew more people there than I did in home.
Really?
So, yeah. Connor, I'm not sure what you mean about what's happening on the next live. We're always going to be live, just that we're moving channels to the Blue Abroad Jumper Punch channel. So that's all that's happening, Connor.
Can I just clarify that? It's not the Blue Abroad channel. It's the Jumper Punch
Jumper Punch channel. Yeah.
Now, the Jumper Punch channel, even though the program, the Jumper Punch, is on the Blue Abroad channel as a show, the boys have their own channel called the Jumper Punch, and that's where they usually put up the full interviews that we have with various players or coaches or any other prominent Carlton people. So our show will be part of that channel, and it will be able to be accessed by our viewers. If they can't watch it live on a Sunday night, of course, being on YouTube, you can go back to it any time after that. But it will be on the Jumper Punch channel. So if any of you haven't pressed subscribe to the Jumper Punch channel, that's what you need to do now. It doesn't cost you anything. Unless you want to make some sort of financial contribution, that's up to you. But it doesn't automatically cost you anything, and that way you'll get all of the notifications and I guess reminders as to what each of the shows will be and when they'll be on. So that's the first thing you need to do: subscribe to the Jumper Punch channel and like and share all of this stuff, all of our shows, etc., with your friends, and that'll help us all grow.
So I've just put it up on the screen, the Jumper Punch, with Rocco, Marcello, and Paolo. There must be an O thing on.
That's usually what happens with Italian boys' names.
Yes, exactly.
like Vincenzo as well. Hello, Gina Harris.
I get Pino, so it must be something.
Yeah, because I was just going to say Giuseppe is not exactly but the Giuseppino. That's what you get.
No, just get Pino.
Giuseppino.
Anyway. But yeah, so that's exciting news. So look out for that. We'll be coming to you. So as I've promised Rocco, I'm going to be after this. I'm going to do my first video for him, and it's gonna be a beauty. It's going to be a beauty. That's all I can say. It'll have a lot of local people on it, opposed to just having foreigners who live in Thailand.
Right.
So Vince, to quote your favourite person, Eddie Maguire, what a week it's been in football.
What a big week it's been in football.
What a week it's been in Carlton.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with some Carlton news first. We'll talk about some AFL news after. Carlton Sydney Swans practice match.
Yes, well,
what happened?
That probably took a little bit of heat out of people's enthusiasm by getting a bit of a reality check there on Friday night. But look, I'd have to say, don't read too much into the overall results. They are just hit-outs, and they are trying all sorts of players in different positions, and a number of our better players weren't playing. I guess the same could be said for them too, but I think history would say to you, look, don't read too much into the overall results. But I must say I didn't like the first quarter, Joe. 7 goals 2 to 1 goal 2, and that set the tone for the night, and I don't think we ever recovered. So, in fact, they kicked the first goal of the second quarter and went up to a 42-point lead, and in the end, the margin was 43 points. So, really, after that moment, I think we pretty much managed to stay goal for goal with them. But
I've put a comment up, Vince.
I don't think there was too much to take out of the game, other than a few individual performances that we'll highlight shortly.
Vince, read my comment.
Teague's gift is still alive. Yeah, well,
that's the gift that keeps on giving.
Let's see if it happens during real games. Then we can comment on whether it's still around or not. But I think clearly Sam Doherty was our best player. I think something like 34 possessions, I think, something like that. 34, 35 possessions, and was an outstanding performer for us on the night. I thought Charlie Curnow did pretty well, especially working up the ground. He didn't. I mean, he kicked a couple of goals, but didn't turn on the goal kicking too much. But I think he was concentrating more on working up the ground and taking marks up around near the wing and places like that. But Hewitt also, I think, performed very well. George Hewitt, he was another midfielder that put in most of the night. 13 tackles, which is a really good stat to see. Blake Acres kicked our first and only goal in the first quarter. I think he's showing that, he's going to be a real asset compared to who we used to have on the wings.
Vince, what about this one?
And probably Jacob Wiedering was the other one that did reasonably well on Franklin.
What about our 2 recruits? I think the young guys, according to my friend, I didn't watch the game because we couldn't get it here in Bangkok.
Right.
But I'm led to believe that Ollie Hollins and there's another one my friend was telling me about. Look like they're going to be players.
Lockie Cowan. Yeah, they were the 2 I was going to mention. These 2, I think, have got every possibility of playing senior football reasonably quickly. If not in round 1, certainly at very regular intervals during the year, I can see both those boys playing senior football. So they showed a lot of promise.
I just accidentally did this. I've got some more breaking news, Ben. And in news just to hand, hello, Beachy.
I don't know if that's worth a breaking news segment, but nonetheless, I'm going to take it. Thank you,
Chris. I don't know if you heard, but you have been named the heartthrob of the channel.
Oh, God. Okay. Well,
I thought it was sex symbol rather than heartthrob, Joe.
Same thing, isn't it?
Oh, sort of.
I mean,
technically, but look, whoever voted for me, I'll be taking it. But
I think the girls have cottoned on. That Beachy actually puts on his costume, and he basically dresses up as Batman and goes out in the Bat Cave down there. That's the library there at Gotham City, right behind him.
Look,
and
I think
he goes
frozen.
out. And, he's a Cape Crusader at night.
You were frozen there, Beachy, and I was gonna get you. You're in that position, and I was just gonna put up, blow a kiss to all the ladies out there, Beachy.
What the hell?
Beachy, you're freezing up. I'm gonna take you out still. We'll have to take the heartthrob out, girls.
Our heartthrob who's on fire is all of a sudden frozen.
Yeah, exactly. Kathy, nice to have you. Just a pracky game.
Hello,
doesn't
Kathy.
count.
Yeah,
I agree, Kathy, and I was talking to Vince off air. You know, I still read the Herald Sun and listen to some of the news around, and it's interesting. You know, I've got Kingy saying that we're going to challenge for the top 4, and then you got Nathan Buckley. I don't know if this is his Collingwood bias, saying that we won't make the top 10. So I don't know how people can be so differing in opinions. It just shows what happens. Vince, what have you got to say about that? Can you see any logical defaults in our game?
Look, I respect the fact that everyone's entitled to an opinion, including Nathan Buckley. Whether you want to pay any attention to his opinion is another thing. But look, I'm not sure why. I didn't hear the interview, so I don't know why he doesn't rate us as being worthy of a position in the top 10, let alone the top 8. I happen to think that we've ticked a lot of boxes in the off season. Will it make a world of difference? I don't think just the inclusions will make a world of difference, but they'll make some difference, especially when we have had such a deficiency on the wings. The ruck, I still think, could be an issue between Pitnet and DeConning. I'm not sure if we've really... I know we recruited young Hudson O'Keefe, wasn't it? But I don't know how ready he is for senior football. So you probably wouldn't want one of your main ruckmen to go down, would you?
No.
But nevertheless, I still think that with a little bit of luck with injuries, and if we can win the close ones more than we lose them, I think we should be able to get at least 14 wins this season. And I think Carlton supporters are well entitled to feel impatient and full of expectation for this season. The club has really wound up the propaganda machine in the off-season about how good we're going to be this year. I know that internally they're hoping for top 4 and they're aiming for top 4. If they achieve that, I think we'll go a long way towards possibly playing in the big dance. But first things first, let's just get to the point where we're playing finals, because we haven't even reached the top 8 for 10 years.
Well, here's a few comments. Paul, Buckley's been smoking too much weed. Yeah, he's probably been in Bangkok. Yeah. Connor is right. We beat Richmond for the first time in ages last year, so let's do our best. Damien, I don't want to see 2 first gamers packed out crowd. Don't know what that means, but anyway, this I have no idea. Whoever you are, Eveling aliens. What do we think about that? Only practice round. What were they practicing? How to make Moo, Blakers, and Dutchie look like stars? That means something to someone. And Paul, just because they lost this week, big effing deal. Had a few players out. Yeah, they did too. Paul, I don't think we can read anything into the game. We're just talking.
The whole purpose of that game was to try a lot of our players who probably haven't had much of a hit out. Cripps didn't play. Harry Mackay didn't play. And there are others as well that I can't quite think of right now. But look, it's all about giving them minutes and giving them game time and seeing if they can play within a system. Some of them did it well. Some of them didn't. Some players are ready for senior football. Some of them are not. But that's what practice matches are all about, seeing who can step up and who can't.
This is a good comment. I like this comment. Blues need to stop getting scored against late in quarters. That was worrying, right?
Yeah.
And, as you said, Vince, let's see if it happens in the game. But I don't like it. I know it's a practice game, but I still didn't like it. It just, they all look to have dropped their heads. I've seen a few highlights. They just dropped their heads. So that's the scary thing. But as Vince rightly points out, let's see if it happens in rounds 1, 2, and 3 of the big game. Yeah. So, Vince, are you in favour of these practice games, or do you think that they should just start the season earlier and be done with?
No, I am. I think practice matches have their place. I think most clubs would feel frustrated if they didn't have any practice matches before their first, fair income matches. It's been going on for decades and decades to have practice matches before the season starts, and I think it benefits every single club. So why wouldn't we keep them going? I think it's good to bring them out to the country areas if you can, and give those people that live in provincial cities a chance to see their teams, etc. Why not?
Yeah. This is a good point from Gina, and I was going to bring it up. We talked about the players that played well. It's disappointing for players who are fighting for their spot. I heard Paddy Dow was not very good, nor was Lockie Plowman. Now, I don't really. I'm over the days of knocking players, but these guys, O'Brien, Dow, Kemp. I mean, Kemp's been there 3 years and can't even get into the squad.
This is what I was going to say, is that, look, if anything, practice matches give players an opportunity to impress. And if you're on the fringes of the team, like a Paddy Dow or a Brodie Kemp or, a Jack Carroll or someone like that, this is your opportunity to really shine. Now, we all know they're just practice matches, but, hey, performing in them is a lot better than not performing in them. And standing out gives you a far better chance to be considered for a senior berth in the real season than if you just tread water. Those players who didn't play well on Friday night, they're going to have to do it through the twos and probably impress for a number of weeks before they're even considered for a senior berth. So, if I was Paddy Dow, I'd be getting my skates on and really trying to make every post a winner, because he's only on a 1-year extended contract, and if he doesn't perform this year, I dare say they won't give him another 12-month contract. They'll just simply delist him.
Yeah. So, Honey, Dow, Carroll all failed to take their chances.
Yeah.
Gina, I thought I was your sweetheart, not your honey. But anyway. And
very good.
Johnny Yelder. Good evening, Johnny. Only positive out of the game was no injuries in Cowan. Yeah.
I thought Cowan was the standout young player in the match. Yep.
Yeah. Lana's joined us. G'day, Lana. How are you? Hope you're well.
Hello, Lana.
Now,
nice to see our regulars with us again tonight. Our very loyal viewers, and don't forget to tune in on the Jumper Punch channel from next week onwards.
Chris has tried to come in. I don't know what's happening, Chris.
Is it next week onwards, Joe, or is it the week after?
I spoke to Rocco, and we're going to start being on their channel the Sunday after the first game.
Oh, okay, so it's in a fortnight from now. So next week, are we going to be on the Sunday night, seeing it's a long weekend, or are we going to do the Monday? I think you mentioned
we're going to do the. Well, I didn't know it's a long weekend, so
it is in Victoria.
Yeah, I'm here. Well, tomorrow's a long weekend for me. So tomorrow's
It's a long weekend in Western Australia this weekend, by the way. It's their public holiday on Monday tomorrow, but next weekend is the Labor Day long weekend in a few states, I think. So are we doing Monday night next week, are we?
Yeah. I'm unavailable next Sunday night. Yep. Lana's asked who's coming to the Blue Abroad launch next Sunday. I have no idea.
Next Saturday, yes, on the 11th of March. I'm not sure if they've still got tickets left. You can check it out online, maybe on the Blue Abroad channel. They'll have something about it. There's the season launch happening at North Seafood Bar and Grill. That's Ange Christou's restaurant. So if you haven't booked in for that, make sure that you jump in and join us at the Blue Abroad season launch. Terry will be there, Rocco and Mars and Paul, and Ange will naturally be there, seeing he owns the restaurant. So it'll be a great day.
Beachy, I'm going to throw you out. You keep you've got the aliens for some reason. So he's got the gremlins.
He's trying. He doesn't look happy, though. He doesn't look happy at all.
He's very trying. So to all the girls out there, I'm very sorry, but the heartthrob you'll have to wait till next week. So Vince, I guess that's really disappointing when you get people like Dow, O'Brien. I mean, they're really high draft picks. Kemp as well. Yep. When we lost Stocker for whatever reason. We wish him well at St Kilda, but these are all first round draft picks that I don't know. We just seem to get them wrong all the time.
Well, we didn't get it wrong in 2015, and then I know that's a long time ago now because it's like seven and a half years ago or something that we recruited Jacob Wiedering, Harry Mackay, Charlie Curnow, Jack Silvani, and I think David Cunningham's probably the only one that hasn't really worked out purely because of injury. But, you know, that was one that we got it right with just about every pick. But since then, it's been slim pickings. Obviously, Sam Petrevsky-Seaton didn't work out. He's gone back to West Coast.
And not performing there either.
Well, Sam Walsh is the only other one that we got at number 1, which has clearly worked out for us. You could argue Tom DeConnie. I think we got him at about pick 30, thereabouts.
Yeah.
I think
Jenny,
we have got it wrong in a few years, that's for sure.
Didn't get it wrong with Walshy. Well, Jesus, wouldn't want to get him wrong with number 1 picks, but you know, like Paddy down number 3 or 5?
Number 3.
Compare Chris Judd, who was a number 3, and compared Paddy Dow. I know you can't, but that's just.
And we gave away some picks in the trade for Liam Stocker, so I think Stephen Silvani might have traded away a future first-round pick for Stocker. Or something like that. It might have been a second-round pick.
And you got O'Brien, who was at 10, right?
Yeah.
Brody Kemp was around about the same. He was like 10 or 12 or something.
Yeah,
I know he was injured when we.
He was injured.
Yeah, I know he was injured. Yeah, but Vince, you know, it's very demoralising when you see every year, and you know, like then you had Sauce, and then we went to this other guy, and then we've gone to this other guy, and then we've gone to Matthew Lloyd's brother. It's just very, very, very frustrating, you know, especially for us Carlton supporters who are not used to failure. Do you think we pick up players in the same position also? Yeah, but Gina, everyone seems to draft mid, so I don't blame the position. I don't know if it's the player. Or I don't know if it's the culture. You know, everyone says it's the culture, but then I look at someone like Sam Petrevsky-Seaton, who went to West Coast, and I don't know if their culture's any better, but he's just as bad there. So,
just a bad pick in the end.
I don't know. I guess
mind you, it didn't cost West Coast anything close to what it cost us. We traded. We used pick 6, I think it was, for him. But I don't think we were getting anything close to number 6 when we traded him to West Coast. It was almost a token pick.
I think we got a packet of chips and a Mars bar.
Something like that.
And the chips were stale.
You can go back over all of that, but I don't think that's going to achieve anything now. We've got a squad now that should be good enough and experienced enough to make the finals. And I don't think there's any excuses anymore. I think the club's worn out of excuses. The fans will not cop it anymore. We have to put our best foot forward and make the 8. There's just no, there's no accepting any mediocrity anymore. We have to perform. And, there should be no reason when you have a look at the list profile of our players, what ages they are, how many games of experience on average they've got, all of that. We really are cherry ripe to be playing finals. We should have played finals last year. And we did.
Well, yeah. Yeah, well, that's... We can't
halfway
change
through the season, we were looking pretty much sewn up for a final spot, and then we managed to lose 8 out of our last 12 games and heartbreakingly finish out of the 8. But, I mean, I really believe that this year is the one that we should make it.
We spoke about this off air, Vince. We asked, I asked you, where do you think we lack? And my concern is that we don't have like a big mongrel backman. I mean,
you want to bring back Mick Martin like Dennis Pagan said we needed to do.
Mick Martin was toothless tiger, but
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he always said you need a big gorilla in your defence. That's what he used to say, Dennis Pagan.
So should we have brought back Liam Jones rather than let him go to the?
But there's no point discussing that, Joe. It's done. It's finished. He's a Western Bulldogs player again, and We haven't got Liam Jones anymore. We've got Lewis Young. He
I know.
did very well last year, and he's not a big monster of a player, but he's a very capable player. If anyone's going to play the role of the big bad defender, it's probably going to be Mitch McGovern. I think he needs to throw his weight around down there and start taking intercept marks and make his presence felt.
Let's not hold our breath there.
Well, I think that's what he needs to do. I think he needs to make his presence felt.
Leone, I don't know what stay home means, but okay, stay home. I've got no idea. Ganerick agrees with me. We should have gone for Liam Jones. Connor Plunkett, well, my hope if we can finish 8, but you never know what's going to happen. Yeah, we hope so too, Connor. Gents, we have talent all over the ground. We need to come and play and compete. We can match it with anyone where the
talent is there. I agree, Johnny. I agree. No more excuses. Time to put it together. And, we've got a top midfield now. You've got Cripps and Walsh at full strength. You've got Cripps and Walsh and George Hewitt and Matthew Kennedy and Adam Chera. And now Blake Acres has joined the clan. You've also got backups in Lockie O'Brien and Sam Doherty can even move into the midfield if we need him. There should be no reason why our midfield can't be one of the top 2 or 3 midfields in the competition this year. Yeah. And our forward line, our 2 tall timbers are both Coleman medalists. If they can both put it together in the 1 year, I think we'll be very, very hard to stop.
Yeah. I think last year we showed that we can match it with anyone, and our game plan seems quite okay. Yeah. I think we just lost our cool in the last 2 games against Melbourne and Collingwood. I don't know whether
what we lacked, and this is something that experts will tell you comes with experience, is poise and composure under pressure, because we hadn't put ourselves in that position before, so we sort of half panicked. What we need to do now is have a plan that everyone takes part in and believes in and buys into, that every time we've got that situation, to have a pre-organised plan, if you like, and this has got to be up to the coaches to instill this into the players, as to what we do and how we do it. Whether we up the tempo, slow down the tempo, play keepings off, whatever the case may be, when you're holding a lead and there's only 2 or 3 minutes to go, there's got to be a bit more composure and a bit more poise under pressure. I think we panicked and we lost the ball at key moments and turned it over, and those last couple of minutes in each of those games against Melbourne and Collingwood last year cost us the game.
Well, I just hope they've learnt from it, Vince. I just hope that, our defensive coaches have learnt. Shane seems to think 13 wins, anything more is a bonus. I guess 13 wins get... Did we have 13 wins last year or 12?
No, we had 11.
11.
Sorry, I beg your pardon.
12.
We had 12. 12 and 10, but we finished out of the 8 on percentage.
Well, 13 will get us.
Funnily enough, Joe, after 10 rounds, we had 8 wins and 2 losses in the top 4. And we beat Sydney, who eventually played in the grand final. We beat Sydney at not Etihad, what do they call it now? Marvel Stadium, in probably our best win for the year. And then after that,
buying tickets.
All of a sudden, we were lose 1, win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1. Well, it was almost like a pattern every week. Until the last 4 rounds where we lost all 4, and that's where the wheels fell off.
Just the wheels fell off.
Look, I don't believe there's any team that we can't beat. There is not one team that if we put our mind to it and we adhere to the game plan and have that poise under pressure, there's not one team that we can't beat. Does that mean we're not going to lose a match? Of course not. Doesn't mean that at all. But if we're switched on and if we've got a reasonably full strength team, we can beat anyone and match it with anyone. I'm very confident.
Gina's right. The Adelaide game killed us last year. It wasn't the last 2 games.
Time to look forward now, Gina. Time to look forward. I think we've done enough looking back. We've got to stop looking back. Just look forward now, and and really get behind the team and, really insist on them fulfilling what these expectations are, because, they should be making it abundantly clear to the players. Anything short of making finals this year means some of them are just going to get the chop. Simple as that.
Yeah. So, Vince, I think there's 11 days or 10 days to go. No more. There'll be no more sort of practice
11
matches.
days.
11 days. No more practice matches. They'll probably have some inter-club games. What are you hearing about injuries, such as things to David Cunningham and a few others? Like we all know, Zach Williams is out for the year. Sam Philp is out for the year. Matthew Cotterill, I think, is still in.
Well, they put both of those boys on the long-term injury list, and that's what opened up 2 spots on the list. So, yeah. Matthew Cotterill's injured at the moment. And there's one other I'm trying to think of who's injured. Maybe someone can help me that's watching out there. But look, we've got a few
Jack
players
Martin.
that are injured. Oh, well, of course, Sam Walsh naturally.
I'm hearing he's going to play round 1.
He won't be too far away. He'll be back before most of us realise it, I think.
But everyone's saying Jack Martin, so I don't know what's wrong with Jack Martin.
Jack Martin's another one that's been. I think the usual thing, a calf muscle injury with him. It's just about the calf muscle every time, isn't it?
Someone's saying Caleb Marchbank. What about David Cunningham? Is his shoulder broken? Does he need a reconstruction?
Not that I'm aware of. Is he?
Rocco, come on, man. Talent means nothing if you can't get it right between the ears. Are they mentally strong enough? Stay tuned.
That's the key issue, isn't it?
That's just it.
That's all between the ears, and this is what you've got to wonder about with us. I mean, if these players aren't fired up and motivated after what happened last year to really go at least a step forward this year,
well,
then something's wrong with them.
Yeah, they never will.
But he's right. It all comes down to their mental capacity to put it together and to keep adhering to a game plan and not losing the plot like we did a few times last year. And physically, I don't see any reason why we can't do it. It's just, as usual, he's 100% right. Mentally is where it's going to come down to.
People have put up Caleb Marchbank and Cunningham. I'm not too worried about those two because we've been without basically both of them for the last 2 years. So if they come back, it's a bonus.
Zach Williams, Walsh, obviously, Cotterill, Philp. So we can have a few, and Cunningham. They're the main ones.
I heard we had 13 on the injured list, but I don't know. The newspapers are a bit different.
I don't need to be too worried.
No, I wasn't too worried. So, Vince, anything else about our beloved Blues before we go? I'll move on.
Look, I don't think so. We've seen both practice matches where, the opposition had a period where they scored multiple goals. That's the only thing that bothers me still. But, it'll be interesting to see how they go against Richmond and how they go against Geelong. If they've really got their act together, we'll win both those matches. You'd want to win at least one of them. If we lose both, then we know we've got some issues and still got some issues that have to be sorted quickly.
So my question to you, Vince, is everyone's hoping we're going to make the 8. Okay?
Yep.
Or everyone says, who's going to drop out? Because someone's going to drop out.
Joe, we can all speculate, but the reality is, and if you ever look at the ladders of every single year, you will see that at least a couple of teams drop out of the 8.
I know, but who's
and
it
at least
going to be?
a couple come in. Now, who they are going to be, I'm not really sure. We can only speculate. Look, let me have a look. We had the ladder from last year. I can't see any of the top 4 teams dropping out this year. Can you?
No.
I mean, we saw
Western Bulldogs, but I can't see them.
In the end, we saw Brisbane finish on top of the ladder. Geelong. Sorry, I beg your pardon. I'm looking at the wrong ladder. That was the AFLW. We saw Geelong finish at the top of the ladder. Sorry. A couple of games clear of Melbourne, Sydney, and Collingwood, all on 16 wins. Geelong was on 18 wins. So then Melbourne, Sydney, and Collingwood were on 16. What's happened, Joe?
I don't know what's happened. It says click the camera button. So I'm just going to hop out and come.
You've taken your camera button off. That's just me now, everyone. Anyway, I'll just quickly go through this 2022 ladder. I'll start again. Geelong finished with 18 wins and only 4 losses. Melbourne, Sydney, and Collingwood on 16 wins and 6 losses. Fremantle 15.5 wins, obviously involved in a draw. Brisbane finished on 15 wins. Richmond finished on 13 wins and 1 draw. And in the end, the Western Bulldogs snuck into the 8 at our expense on 12 wins with a percentage of 108.9, and we dropped out with 12 wins and a percentage of 108.3. So 0.6% out of the 8. Heartbreaking, wasn't it? But look, I think there's a chance that my tip would be Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs to drop out of the 8. Possibly Richmond, but it'll be if I had to guess 2 of them, I'd say Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs. And the teams I can see going in are ourselves, and I think Port Adelaide are probably good enough to get back into the 8, as of course they were there back in 2021, finishing in the top 4. So I expect them to do a lot better. Who knows? Who knows who'll end up back in the 8 this year, but that would be my expectation. Fremantle and Western Bulldogs out, Carlton and Port Adelaide in. All of the other teams in the 8 from last year, I think, will probably keep their spots in the 8. But who knows?
Sorry about that, Vince. I don't know what happened. I had to log out and log back in.
That's all right.
So,
see, for example, I was just saying, Joe, Port Adelaide last year dropped out of the 8. Now, who would have expected that after they finished top 4 and made a preliminary final the year before? I don't think anyone would have predicted it. So,
no, exactly.
Does that mean that there's a chance that Melbourne or Collingwood could even, or Brisbane could even finish outside of the top 8? No one predicts these things, but it's all possible.
So while I was away, here's some interesting comments. Geelong can get. We lost.
No,
Nick Meredith.
I think what she's trying to say is the Cats can get stuff.
Yeah. I think Freo the Bulldogs. Yeah, Freo might come out. Garnick's got a new name for them. I think Bitchmond. Vince, are you following my comments?
Yes, I am,
Connor, we should be able to do better this year. Let's hope. And Paul, what was lacking last year was from our wings. Now we've picked up Holland and Akers. Yeah, I agree. That Holland looks good, doesn't he, for a young kid?
Yeah, he does look good, yeah. Ollie Holland.
I hope he can. I don't know if he'll last the whole season because of his frame, but if we can get 10 or 12 good games out of him.
Look, even if we just give him a bit of senior experience, even if it's, 6 or 8 games, that'll be good experience for him. And you're right, his body is still very slight and he's only 18. And, like most of these recruits, they need to be given some time to mature. Not all of them are going to be like Sam Walsh, that was basically an incredible first-year player back in 2018.
Yeah. Okay, Vince. So I think that we've spoken about 45 minutes. Just very quickly on some other sports. Cricket. We finally won a game.
Weren't the Aussies impressive? I think I'll put it down to one major factor, Joe.
Pat Cummins wasn't captain.
Captaincy. Leadership. Steve Smith is a born leader, and those players seem to grow in confidence under his direction. He just looked like a natural captain out there, didn't he? Don't you reckon?
He did.
And, I've got to say, they really ought to be, I know they won't probably do it, but they should be seriously considering whether they should be having any bowler, whether it's Pat Cummins or any other bowler, as a captain. one thing I will say that disappointed me is that one of our main batsmen, who I've got a lot of time for as a batsman, don't get me wrong, he's an excellent batsman, but he proved to me that he's got a little way to go when it comes to showing some leadership as well.
Who?
And you might think this is a bit frivolous and a bit trivial, but I thought the batsman that guided us to victory there on that last day was Travis Head.
Oh, he batted
and with
really
2 runs to get and only 1 wicket had fallen, he was on 49 not out, and Marnus Labuschagne decides to hit a bloody big boundary and take all the glory. I think if he had his time again, and this was pointed out to him, I think he'd probably push for a single at best.
I don't think he
and
would.
let Travis Head get his milestone the next over, because now you might think, it's only a 50, but seriously, I mean, what harm would it have done to just push for a single and let Travis Head hit the winning runs and get a half century? You don't care? You don't think it matters?
No, I agree. I agree 100%.
To me, it's symbolic of a team that's not quite playing for each other and have got that real spirit of unity and looking out for the other guy. They're all looking after themselves. And I just wonder about the selfish nature of the team. That's all. But I was heartened by how they played under Steve Smith's captaincy.
I agree. I thought it was a bit rude, because at the end in the scorebook it shows numbers of 50s and number of hundreds, and
you've denied your mate. You've denied, but by being a selfish idiot, you've denied your mate an additional half century. I mean, he played beautifully, Travis Head. If that was me, all I'm telling you, I'll speak for myself. If that was me, there is no way I would have hit the winning runs. I would have just
I wouldn't have
either pushed for a single and let him get the winning run, or just block the ball and let him take the following over. They were never going to get bowled out. It was only 1 out. They had 9 wickets in hand. So, maybe he wasn't aware of it. Maybe he didn't realise that.
No, he was aware.
To his half century.
He was aware because a couple of balls earlier he tried it and nearly got stumped.
Yeah, but that's my point. He tried to hit it a couple of balls before and he missed it. And I thought, what's he doing? And then the following ball, he just blocked it. And I thought, okay, well, then maybe he will just see out the over. But then the following ball came along and he knocked it to the boundary and game over. And Travis had every right to say, hey.
Listen, dickhead.
How about letting me get a half century, mate? Anyway, I just think it's just a little sign, just a bit telling that, that there's a bit of selfishness there and not quite playing for each other, these guys. Anyway.
Well, hang on. What's this? Green Captain Head and Khawaja Senior Support. Labuschagne, it's always about Marnus. Yeah.
I don't think Cameron Green's up for captaincy just yet. I think that's a bit early.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. But I don't want an all-rounder. I don't know why they got away from Smith. I know that sandpaper gate.
But I noticed that Steve Smith came out in the media and said, "Nah, my days of captaining Australia on a full-time basis are over. I don't mind filling in if it has to be, like he had to fill in this time, because Pat Cummins had to go back home and be with his sick mother. I understand that, but he said my days of being a full-time captain for Australia are finished."
Okay, fair enough. So that's the cricket. Golf. I know you're a big golf person, Vince. Tell me some golf.
I am. Well, there's a couple of big tournaments going on. In fact, one of them came to an end today. The Women's World Championship in Singapore. What is it about Singapore, Joe? They've had something like 90-something consecutive days of rain.
Really?
And the whole tournament nearly got washed out again because of rain. That many delays in the tournament over the 4 days. It was unbelievable. But
well, they're not far from us. I wish we'd get some rain.
The drainage over there was brilliant.
Yeah.
And look, the quality of golf. If you have a chance to watch women's golf, have a go at watching it. These girls are just superb. I've got to say, it is. If there's one sport where the women's standard of play really compares well with the men's, it's golf. Better than any other sport, in my view. And I enjoy watching women's cricket, obviously women's tennis. AFLW, maybe not quite so much.
Women's
they've got a
football,
long way to go yet,
women's soccer's
golf
good.
is pretty- Yeah, women's soccer's good too. Yep.
Very good.
Yeah.
So who won?
So
I bet you it was a Korean.
Yes, and it's amazing how many fantastic players have come out of South Korea. Jin Young Ko, who won it last year, defended her title successfully this year, and she is the very first player in the history of this particular tournament to successfully defend her title the year after. So a fantastic performance, 17 under par from world number 2, Nelly Corder, who finished on 15 under. And I think you'll find that from an Australian point of view, and if I can say Australasian player point of view, because one of my favourite players is the number 1 player in the world, Lydia Ko.
Korean.
Lydia finished on 5 under par, and the best of the Australians was Hannah Green, and she finished on 7 under. So, a good 10 shots behind the winner. So they were never really in contention, but a very high quality tournament. Some of the best players, if not all of the best players in the world playing there. And Jin Young Ko, 17 under par, successfully defended her title. So that was a fantastic performance. The other golf tournament that's going on around the world at the moment is in the United States as part of the USPGA Tour. This is the Arnold Palmer Invitational, Joe. The great Arnold Palmer, who's only died about 5-6 years ago, roughly. Obviously, the tournament's named after him, an icon of the sport. And it's the leaderboard is really, really, really hotting up now. You've got some of the world's best players right at the top of the leaderboard. You've got current world number 2, Scotty Scheffler. He's in a tie for the lead with, let me see. Sorry, he's not in a tie for the lead. He's in a tie for second. Kurt Kitayama from the United States is in the lead at 9 under par from Scotty Scheffler and Victor Hovland, who are both on 8 under. And then you've got a host of other players on 7 under. The best of the Australians is Jason Day at 3 under and Adam Scott at 1 under. I think they're probably a little too far behind to win in the final round, being played on a Sunday afternoon their time, but it'll be Monday morning here. But I do believe that they could very well finish in the top 10. Jason Day, as a matter of fact, is in a tie for 12th at the moment on 3 under.
Okay. Well, that's our golf news. In the round ball game, Vince, Arsenal, I watched that last night, came from 2-0 down to win 3-2. That's what good teams do, people.
Yes,
they come from behind.
Very lucky. I'll tell you what, they played the bottom team on the ladder, Bournemouth, and it would have been very hairy times. They only got the winner in I think it was the 7th minute of extra time. 7th minute. I mean,
doesn't matter where you get them,
very
Vince.
lucky to escape, but that's what good teams do.
And I'll tell you and Beachy must be sitting there, a bit worried. You're Everton in relegation.
I'm starting to think, Joe, that it's curtains for us this year. I think I know it's still possible to get out of the bottom 3 because all 3 teams in the bottom 3 are on 21 points. And the teams above us are 22 points, 23 points, 24 and 25. But with only, 13 games to go, so it's still a good third of the season left to go. You'd want to be turning your form around, wouldn't you?
Oh, you'd be going.
I just don't know whether we've got the firepower to do it. But anyway, that's Everton.
Gina says, go Man U.
Manchester United, we should mention, won the League Cup with a very comprehensive 2-0 victory over Newcastle United last weekend.
That's the Carabao
So that
Cup,
was the first bit of silverware. Funnily enough, can you believe this? For a club like Manchester United, with all of their many millions and millions, first bit of silverware in 6 years.
Good.
Can you believe that?
Your sister cup.
But anyway,
No.
that's the start probably for them. They'll be going after cups like the FA Cup next, and with any luck, they'll be trying to get the Premier League championship again. But at this stage, it looks like a battle between Arsenal and Manchester City. There's only 5 points between the two teams.
Yeah. Vince, our Gene has told us about Ghost Storm. Now, they've started their season, haven't they? The Rugby League.
Do you want to know an interesting statistic? Do you know an interesting statistic? For all of the years that Craig Bellamy's been the coach of the Melbourne Storm, and I believe 21. This is going to be his last year,
yes,
he has never lost a round one match in any season.
I wish you'd get him at Carlton.
Yeah, well, there was a period there where we couldn't win round one, could we? We couldn't win anything in the first 4 rounds. But
we couldn't win.
Yeah, Melbourne Storm, what a fantastic story. It is. It's been a very successful club for many years, and in no small part thanks to their coach Craig Bellamy. And he's been an absolute ornament to the game of rugby league.
Rugby league, as Peter Verlander says.
Rugby
you can't
league.
Say rugby. Rugby league.
That's it.
Anyway, So Vince, that nearly brings us to the end of the show, except for
the Golden Tonsils Omen bet of the week.
Now, what was your Omen bet last week?
Well, Joe, I've got to tell you, my Omen bets keep coming in third.
Was there at least a third dividend?
No, I don't think there was, as a matter of fact. But I think we went for Dennis. Remember, because we were mentioning Dennis Minari. And by the way, I must say, on that front, I attended the Carlton Life members luncheon today at the Q Golf Club. It was a fantastic gathering of Carlton Life members. I guess most of them would be players or past players, coaches. Great to see David Parkin there today, and people who have earned a life membership through their contribution to the club in various different ways. I, in fact, met a lovely old man today who's 90 years of age, who used to be our boot stutter up until about 15 years ago, and terrific old guy, and you can just see how much it means to him to be part of that gathering of people. And
that's right. You went to a Life members luncheon or something today, didn't you?
Yeah, that's what I just said. Yeah, it was a Life members luncheon. It was at the Q Golf Club, and we had names. I was on a table with who was on my table? Brendan Favola, Mark Murphy, Heath Scotland. But there were others there. Stephen Kernahan, Craig Bradley. Anthony Koutafidis, Mil Hanna, Greg Williams, a lot of the players from the 80s and 90s, David Glaskett, Tommy Alvin, and all of the guys from the 87 Premiership, a lot of them were there. And, of course, the loyal guys from the 70s and 80s like Alex Marcoux and Jimmy Buckley and David Rees-Jones and all those types.
Did anyone get inducted as a Life member, or is that not what happens today?
Well, they didn't get inducted as a Life member, but they received their Life members, certificate, if you like, framed certificate. Some of them who'd never received it. So, guys like Lance Whitnell were there today, receiving that. Fev received his today. So, I mean, look, I couldn't rattle off all of the names now, but fantastic gathering, and great to get amongst all the boys and girls and their partners. And it's a once a year thing. So, yeah, it was a fantastic day.
So, Vince, what is your
unfortunately,
bet?
Dennis, to get back to your bet, Dennis came third at Mildura last week, behind the odds-on favourite that was about $1.80 or something for the win. Anyway.
And was there an NTD?
We'll try again, shall we?
What's the bet?
Well, you got me on the hop here because I actually haven't prepared one, but I'll try and find you one.
Well, hang on. While you're doing that, let me remove this. Sandra McDonald has asked,
"Have we got some more? Yeah, we got some more comments. Go through some comments."
So Sandra, you missed this.
Yeah.
Hang on. So, Sandra, the breaking news is that we will be moving channels to the Jumper Punch starting in 2 weeks. So we have been asked to join the Jumper Punch channel. So we will be there. That's the major announcement.
On that note, I have just found the most ideal omen bet that ties in with everything you just said.
Tell us.
Talk about dovetailing into the omen bet.
Yeah.
This is the harness racing meeting at Stall tomorrow, Monday.
Hang on.
Okay,
Stall.
it's a daytime meeting. So this is race 7.
Hang on.
This is taking place at about 3 minutes to 5 p.m. So 4:57 p.m.
Yeah, race 7.
Number 2.
Yeah.
Vinny Rock. Now, it is actually the favourite at $1.65 at the moment on the TAB fixed odds market. So, it should be very well backed tomorrow. And seeing Rocco's part of the main brains and the power behind the Jumper Punch, and I'm taking part in that show as well. And we're moving over to the Jumper Punch channel. I think that'll be the omen bet for the week, Joe. Vinny Rock, number 2. In race 7 at Stall. Let's all put 50 cents on it, shall we?
So, no, you can't have 50-cent units anymore. It's got to be $1.
Oh, whatever. Okay, put $1 then. But gamble responsibly. Don't go and put your house on it.
I was just about to say mortgage the house. You'll pay the 17% interest, no worries. Rocco's putting the house on it. There you go.
Vinny Rock, number 2. Oh, Rocco's watching, so that's great. What do you reckon, Rock? We'll put a bit each on it. Okay.
So, all right. So we've been through everything we've got to go through.
Yeah.
So practice match all done and dusted.
Yeah.
11 days. The real stuff.
And don't
begins.
forget, next week, let's remind everyone that next week we won't be on Sunday night. We'll be on Monday night at 8 o'clock. That's the public holiday here in Victoria. That's Monday.
What's the public holiday? Is that Moomba?
Yes, Monday the 13th. Labor Day. So Monday the 13th, 8 o'clock. And the following week, which is the week after we play our first round match against Richmond, we will be broadcasting on the Jumper Punch channel at 8 o'clock on Sunday. So I'm really looking forward to that.
So, Vince, Gina's taking your 50-cent bet.
Okay.
So, you
can't have a 50-cent bet anymore. Oh, okay.
So everyone, we will see everyone next Monday night. So it's good night from me here in Bangkok.
Don't forget the Jumper Punch on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. Yeah.
And don't forget, I will have a special video for the boys in a couple of weeks. And I'm just about to go and shoot it. So I'm not going to tell you where I'm just about to go. Yep. So you'll have to see. You'll have to wait. Sandra, it's not tomorrow, Monday. You'll see us in 8 days' time.
Yeah, on the 13th of March.
13th of March. So it's good night from me and
it's good night from him. And as we all say at the end of every show, Joe, 1, 2, 3.
Go Blues!
We are the Navy Blues. We are the old dark Navy Blues. We're the team that never lets you down. We're the only team old Carlton knows. With all the champions they like to send up, we'll keep our end up, and they will know that they've been playing against the famous old dark Blues.
Never get sick of that song. So good night, everybody.
Good night.